because we are the Space Marines.
The world of Warhammer 40k is a dreary, dark fantasy universe, so enormous with so many different factions, sub-factions, characters, and lore that it can kind of be overwhelming.
Okay, that has a toughness of 7 and a -1 to your hit rolls.
Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5 hits.
Okay, I'm gonna roll my saving throw, which is 3+.
What in the actual f are you guys doing?
Now, of the said sons, we have the promotional material. If they were black or Chinese, sibling rivalry. Dark Souls, Purple Griffith, Cybernetic Engineer, Cannibal Space Viking, Anger Management Vampire.
But Games Workshop has done a magnificent job of licensing the title out to competent game makers, with Darktide and Boltgun being some other recent tie-ins.
Unleash your wrath upon the enemies of the Imperium!
But there was one game that came out around 13 years ago that came out in the time of the Xbox 360, and that was Space Marine. I actually played that a couple of years ago and really did have a great time with it. It really was an awesome, epic, and grand experience, one that really did remind me of what games used to be back in those days.
Space Marine! Was that supposed to hurt?
Third-person action titles such as the original God of War, Gears of War, and other war games. I guess everything was named War, apparently. Now, all these years later, we have its sequel. The trailers sold me on the title, and September 2024 arrived quicker than anyone would have thought it would, because the days are actually getting shorter, and it is. Look it up. It's not a conspiracy. And after about 12 hours or so, I finally beat the campaign. Now, there are going to be minor spoilers for the beginning of the game, and that is it. So fairly spoiler-free. This is going to be covering the campaign and the operation missions, since they actually run parallel to the main story. I will be covering the multiplayer in a separate video, and really can't wait to dive into that portion, because some videos online have been really cool to see. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe to Nerddom for more nerdy thoughts, as well as our weekly live show talking about comics and pop culture in general, The Pull List, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But without further ado, let's get into Space Marine 2. Watching the trailers for this game really got me excited, thinking about being in an overwhelming war against the bug-like force known as the Tyranids. It really made me worry that this game was going to have performance issues on my PC, like a couple of other titles have recently, with Jedi Survivor and Flintlock having these issues. My PC has an RTX 3080, Intel i9 processor, and 64 gigs of RAM. I couldn't tell you why it had issues on those titles, but on Space Marine 2, absolutely no issues whatsoever. It's a grenade launcher, G. Oh, that's just a grenade. The game is graphically beautiful, with amazing skyboxes, large-scale battles, and forces on entire landscapes for you to see and be involved in. The sheer amount of enemies on screen at one time really made me shocked, and to be able to interact with them from so far away, it wasn't a cheap gimmick. Really feeling at times like you are being overwhelmed by this bug alien force that will stop at nothing to get to you and overrun your position. Shockingly, with that, the game also ran very smoothly with only one issue, and that was with the servers. Alright, I'm intoxicated. I got disconnected. What? What's that? Oh no, did their servers die? Loading resources, did I win? Now this was before the official launch, and I finished the game after the launch, and can report that I didn't have any server issues after the launch. Reason the server issues were bad was if it tried to reconnect, I would have to start the whole mission over again, which I did one time. After that, I just played offline, because I was playing alone anyways. Got it. God. I don't know if I can do it on mouse keys, to be honest. It's a little more difficult. Their control scheme. Yeah, feels good on this. Feels really good, yeah. It's just that I gotta get used to shooting. Speaking of playing with friends, the campaign supports up to 3-player co-op, and I can tell that the influence of games such as Remnant 2 and Gears of War have really influenced this title. With you losing your health, you then go into a status that needs to be helped up by a squad member with a timer. The AI does a great job of helping you out, but after 2 times, you will die and have to start over from a checkpoint. But you do have those 2 pickups and a full amount of health to help you the next time. Now I will talk about difficulty. I did play the campaign on the next to hardest difficulty. The game did say that this was the intended difficulty, and I can tell that. If you want to be the ultimate badass and run through everything, I'm sure the lower difficulties will be a fun ride for sure. This difficulty did offer some hardships, but as I stated, you do get a checkpoint fairly close for the most part, and you do get pickups from your teammates. At this difficulty, the game's design did seem sort of frustrating at times. It seemed I was too slow to dodge certain attacks, but not tanky enough to absorb that damage from those attacks. I'm not sure if these were tactics to get the squad to pull aggro more with a 3-player co-op, but while playing single player, it did get a little frustrating to die to some attacks. There is no level up system, there is no RPG elements here. It is purely Gears of War type combat, weapons, and pickups. You pick up different weapons from on the battlefield. There are different stations that you can pick up. You can switch out your guns whenever you find them on the floor. You can also switch out your melee weapons when you find them on the floor, just like Gears of War titles in the past. This is actually a nice breath of fresh air, since many titles have gone the RPG route, including Assassin's Creed. The Tyranids do have different classes of enemies, from normal grunt bugs, snipers, and larger enemies necessitating more concentration. Now, there are spoilery enemies later, and if you know 40k, then you can take a guess, but they fall along basically the same lines as well. The combat can be satisfying and flowing at one moment, then the next, you are stun locked up by multiple larger enemies all over you. The one moment I think I got the combat flow down, I would get caught off guard and spam to death the next moment. The combat I would directly compare to Remnant 2, but with Remnant, the concentration is definitely more on the guns versus the melee, with a mix of Gears of War combat and bosses, but without a concentration on cover. With Space Marine, you do get a feeling that you should be using both evenly. The boss fights are nothing complicated or difficult, however, with their patterns fairly easy to recognize and defeat. Again, with the bosses in Remnant and a Dark Souls clone being way more tactical and complicated, the ones in Space Marine are not too difficult to beat. Pairing an attack with the blue indicator really does give a satisfying kill animation, as well as a parry at just the right time to be able to use your sidearm for a really precise shot. When the combat flows, you really do feel like an ultra Space Marine badass. The campaign will take you to 3 total planets within the 40k universe with an onslaught of Tyranid invasion. A Tyranid splinter fleet has invaded the Imperial system of Residius. Arch Magos Nazik Beta 12 of the Adeptus Mechanicus has called for aid to defend the jungle world of Kadaku and to safeguard the classified Project Aurora. Dimitri and Titus and his Death Watch kill team are sent to aid in the defense of Kadaku. During the descent, Titus is separated from his squad and becomes the only survivor. He manages to complete their mission but is mortally wounded before being rescued by the Ultra Marines. Waking up aboard the battle barge Resilient, he is greeted by Chaplain Quintus and is informed that the Ultramarines, Chapter Master Marnius Calgar, ordered the Primaris surgery, a dangerous process that transforms Space Marines into faster and stronger Primaris Marines in order to save Titus's life. Titus intends to return to the Death Watch, but Quintus reminds him that he was declared free of Chaos Taint by the Inquisition, and if Titus truly yearns for redemption, then he must return to his chapter and earn back their favor. You then meet your squad mates, Sergeant Gadriel and Brother Chiron, who are unsure about you, and then we are off to the races. The story here is mostly war jarble, mixed with awesome 40k lore, and shouting of brotherhood, honor, and death. Warzone, we have to meet up with the Astra Militarium. There they are. So sick.
On your feet, soldier! Move to defend our west flank! And get those heavy bolters resupplied!
Yes.
My lord! Major Sarkana, 8th Cadian Regiment.
Major, give me an update.
The wretched beasts have taken the orbital guns.
Yeah, that's badass. That is what I will say about the story. It's mission after mission and an endless war with multiple enemies. While there are some standout characters, such as Chaplain Quintus and Sevastus Archeron, as well as the Major of the Astra Militarium, who you fight alongside on the battlefield. The story takes you from mission to mission, with the threat growing larger and larger, and then humongous later on. Alongside these missions in the campaign, with our main cast, are parallel operations put on that will help the main cast in their objectives. These are put on by members of Titus's squad, and these are called operations. You and 2 others, either match-made players or AI, will go on these missions, which really do feel like a Remnant 2 run, ending in a boss fight. You will be able to customize and level up these characters, and there is a lot of leveling up and customization to do here, including all of the color schemes from the universe that you can think of. I'm not sure if it's all of it, but it is a lot. The sheer amount of customization here is astonishing, and I can't wait to dive deeper and deeper into this. It is fun and does pose a challenge to players, and all of the same single-player campaign combat is here, with 1 layer deeper. The major units can actually call for backup, and then you get swarmed. This part reminded me kind of Darktide, which has waves of enemies that just so happen to appear. I can see these missions getting repetitive over time, and I haven't finished all of them yet, and really hoping on more missions in the future, and more variety, because grinding these for points might be a long task.
Alien bioform eliminated.
I will say too, it is so cool to see almost the same visual cohesiveness in universe. Just like with Darktide, Space Marine 2 is a fantastic entry point to the Warhammer 40k universe that I can see a lot of people getting more and more interested in with the popularity and quality of this title. This game really does feel like a harken back to the old 360 days, with elevators galore, mixed with the go to this spot and wait for your team gameplay of other titles mentioned here. There were many times when I regrouped with my team or was waiting for my AI to arrive just to press a button to go up an elevator or open a door or another action. Now this can get annoying sometimes, but it doesn't detract from the overall quality of the game. I do believe there is enough, and more so, amount of game here for the price of admission. If you're a fan of Remnant, Gears of War, old God of War, and other third-person action games, I would really recommend this title. And of course, if you're a 40k player or a 40k fan, then you probably already have it in your library. For players looking for an extreme challenge, like with a Souls game, this might not fulfill that need. But in a world of Souls clones coming out every single month, some good and some better, this is a great breath of fresh air. A visually stunning, super smooth, brutally epic war game, reminding you really what gaming can be. I applaud the team over at Saber Interactive, with Dmitry Gorenko and Oliver Hollis-Leek co-directing. Well done, and I hope to see great things from you all in the future, and wish you all continued success. Now, let me get into this multiplayer, huh?
Burn him. Burn him.
Heavy armor eliminated.
Hey, if you like this video, feel free to subscribe. Also, feel free to smash the like button, it really does help out the channel get pushed out to new people. Let me know your thoughts on Space Marine 2 and anything else Warhammer 40k related. I had a really awesome time with the title and can't wait to hop into it a little bit more over the weekend. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Even though while I'm still standing, you just fade away. Don't you know I'm still standing?